Welcome back to another episode of the Ripple Effect podcast by Ripple Baseball. Today, me and Bosie want to discuss injuries. This time of year, tryouts are coming up. Guys are going to be getting into their high school seasons, and this is a time of year where injuries happen, right? Like I remember every year we get to spring training, kind of similar idea. They're like spring training, a lot of injuries. Then halfway through the season, tends to have a lot of injuries. So we just want to take the time today to kind of talk about what can we do to prevent that from happening to ourselves, but also the idea of, okay, injuries happen in the sport, right? Guys get injured all the time, whether it's hitting, pitching, and what can we do to make the most of that situation. So right away, Bose, I just want to ask you a question real quick. Both you and I have been injured. Similar things. I know you had TJ, right? And you also had a...
Oh, man. TJ.
Yeah.
It's all on my elbow. Sprained my elbow a couple times. Had stem cells put in, PRPs. Most of it, was in the old elbow.
Yeah, which scares a lot of people, right? When you think of baseball and you think of injuries, and medicine has changed a lot during our lifetime. A lot of guys come back from that now, right? A lot of guys come back better than ever, especially when it comes to elbow injuries. Why do you think that is? What do you think? Guys get hurt. A lot of times, guys come back throwing harder. Just tell me what your thought process is on that.
Well, let's start. Let's say there's two sides to injuries we can talk about today. First is like what you can do before injuries happen. And, okay, now you're hurt. So let's talk about, okay, what happens? You're hurt, and now what does that look like moving forward? And why is the recovery process improved so much, even like you said, from the span of when we started our high school career till now, through all the pro ball stuff? I think for now, with the improvement of exercises and the improvement of really the strength of the athlete and the foundation that's built, and that kind of touches the first part. But because of the exercises and because of the technology that you can monitor the recovery process, I think that's one reason that people will bounce back better, and the success rate through injuries tends to be a lot higher now. For instance, whether it's dynamometers. So we're testing like strength, we're testing range of motion through the dynamometer. I think that's a big one. We use that all the time in pro ball. I know we use it here at the facility, but to monitor someone's workload as they begin, especially in return to throw, and keeping track of the range of motion, keeping track of the strength, keeping track of the fatigue day in and day out of the throwing program. I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that recovery processes go so much better now.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that we can track better now, right? And I would also argue that this is like kind of where the opportunity comes in. When somebody gets hurt, right, you can approach that situation, like you said, one or two ways. You can either just go through the motions and hope that you have success after, or you can attack it head on and take this as an opportunity to be like, okay, I have nobody that I have to please right now, right? I just have to get better, and I can take this time to truly better myself. So I think guys work harder. I think it's kind of like that oh crap moment where it's like, hey, this is a big moment in my career, and I don't want this to be over. You know what I mean? I'm sure
at any age.
I'm sure it's like your TJ happened in college, right? And I'm sure that when that happened, you wanted to get back out there and play. And I mean, you had great resources around you, like you're talking about. But you put everything you had into getting back on that playing field, right? And I think that's a big thing that I want to get out there is like, injuries happen, they suck, and at the beginning it's really, really tough, right? Both physically, but also mentally. But if you approach it the right way, there is an opportunity to get better in it. Right?
For sure.
And I think, okay, so with that being said, once you get hurt, you understand this is what I need to do to be healthy, to get healthy. How can we do this before we get hurt? Does that make sense? Like, what can we add to our routines to prevent injury from happening?
So,
and by the way, neither one of us are medical professionals. So from like the science side of things, We're just going off of our experience and like what we've seen in our careers, whether it's in college, high school, professional.
A lot of injuries, the work towards injuries and prevention happens before the injury ever happens. So like before you even rehab, call it whatever. A lot of people just call it prehab. But there's a lot of different avenues, I think, that go into that. And when you were talking about points in my career that changes were made, I think part of that was I had like 3 arm injuries after my third one, when I was really close to the big leagues, got hurt, and then, not that like I didn't have any opportunity, but everything changed quickly. And then that's when we played indie ball together. But what was I talking about? Oh, the different things that happen. So it starts in the weight room. It starts with preparing your body to throw. And it can look a different million ways, but throwing is one of the hardest things you can do physically on your body, especially on a joint and a ligament and your elbow. You have to prepare your body so that throwing, and this is a very general way of saying it, but throwing cannot be the hardest thing that happens to your body. I feel like that's when things become fragile. So you need to prepare in the weight room through different types of exercises, whether it's pure strength training, whether it's endurance, whether it's like high rep stuff. There's different ways to prepare your body so that throwing is no longer the hardest part of what's happening. And that's like the first thing I would start with.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense because like let's just think about like fatigue, right? So I know we were talking last night about this, kind of just discussing what we were going to talk about. But we talked about like nutrition, hydration. Right. You mentioned the weight room, arm care, right? All of that stuff is just as equally as important as throwing.
Yes.
Right? I think that's the type of stuff that gets overlooked. Like, I know, for example, just going back to my days with the Angels, they used to test our USG every day. If we want to go out on the field, we had a pee in a cup, and they put a stick in it to see if we were hydrated or not. And this was based off of some study that Dr. Croton, our strength and conditioning coordinator, implemented, and it was like soft tissue injuries. You can eliminate almost every soft tissue injury through hydration, right? Like guy running down first base pulls his hamstring. Guy has a flexor strain. You can almost eliminate all of those through hydration alone. But then, okay, say you've checked every box. Now we're getting to fatigue, right? Like you said, throwing shouldn't be the hardest thing that you do to your body, right? And I think that's why here at Ripple, we like to push our guys a little bit. And like just we want it to be harder here. We mentioned this last podcast episode. We want things to be harder here than they are at high school, right? So we're gonna push guys a little bit, but we're gonna do it in a safe way, like using a dynamometer to measure their shoulder strength to see if they can handle that load, right? We talked about earlier, like load management is important. And by good. And by doing that, I think we have a safer way of training our guys, right? And making sure that they're safe, because as soon as you become fatigued, your body starts to compensate. Your body starts to compensate, it starts using muscles that it doesn't typically use to throw, right? That's when we start to have injuries. So like one thing I like to tell our guys all the time is like, okay, you're feeling a pain. That's just a symptom. That's not the problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think it's also important to go off of that. It's important for athletes to talk to somebody as well. They start feeling the pain, say something. I think I grew up in the era of like, hey, you're gonna play through it. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of times when I got to pro ball where I'm pitching through things that I could have just said, hey, this is bugging me. Give me a day. You know, I'll miss one start, right? And I'm gonna have a better career because of it. But then there's the other side of that where it's like, okay, not everything that feels bad is hurt, right? You're not injured, right? But you can have aches and pains and be able to still perform. But yeah, I think just to bring it all back kind of out there. Just like when we train, whether it's hitting, pitching, you want to be intentional in every single rep you take. I think we also have to be intentional on every single aspect of the game or preparation to stay healthy, to find success. And if you be focused and intentional on everything like that, not only will you stay healthy, but I think it'll also impact your career in a positive way.
Let me ask you, what do you think was, I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but in your career, when it comes to prehab or really arm care, anything like that, what is one thing you wish you would have done better? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. What's one thing you wish you could have done better during your career?
I wish I could have been better at staying consistent. You know what I mean? Like, if I had an ache or a pain, I really attacked it head on, right? And I would take care of it and say it's like a weakness thing. So I really focused on my arm care, and I'm working at it, and okay, now I feel good. As soon as I started feeling good again, I kind of just stopped doing the extra work, you know? So I wish that, like, if I could go back, I wish I could have created a better routine that was simple, that I could do every single day with variation, right? To maintain that consistent, approach. Versus, okay, here's a problem, fix it. Let's keep a couple things.
Bunch
right?
of Band-Aids.
Yeah, like just putting Band-Aids on it. Versus, okay, here's something that you tend to struggle with. Like I always would have, my delt would always bug me. It's like, I'd go see the doctor, they give me some anti-inflammatory, and I'm back, I'm good to go. I'd do some more arm care. I was on the IL for my back a couple of times and like taking care of that. But you get better and you're like, okay, I feel good. And then you kind of relax. But I don't think that you can ever truly relax when it comes to your approach to, one, just preparation. Like if you're not prepared, you're not ready, right? So
I don't want to speak for you, but it sounds just like the overall maintenance. You never found like that groove of maintenance. It was always something pops up, take care of it, and then go back to whatever the baseline is. Something pops up over here, take care of it, go back to whatever the baseline was, rather than just having a good maintenance protocol across the board.
I'd say too, and it's like you see it sometimes with the kids that come in here. I kept doing the easy things, but the things that were hard or like that I didn't like as much, which I probably needed more of.
Right.
Those are the first things that I cut out once I started feeling better.
Right.
So I think that's part of it too, where it's, even though that it's hard and it's monotonous, because that's how this game is. Every day you have to show up and be the same person. You have to do the things that are hard as well to have success.
Yeah, I think that ties into injuries too. The maintenance and all that and everything. I guess the point of what we talked about today is a big piece of injuries is what happens before, and a big piece of injuries is what happens during, and your mindset, and then bouncing out of it. And to go to your what I asked you about maintenance and everything, and I think a great thing we do here is that maintenance is also, like you're saying, doing hard exercises and pushing your body past the limit so your ceiling is higher, or your floor is higher, I guess. So I think that's a great point too, that you do need to find maintenance, but you do need to push yourself to new levels all the time with arm care, body care, weight room, whatever. That's a great way to help injury prevention. It's not just paying attention when you're throwing. There's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah, and it's like, like especially like some like the older guys, they kind of have like their own program here, where it's like they kind of self-paced. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that that I see that frustrates me the most is when they're not taking advantage of the time that they have to prepare. It's like come in and like, yes, I understand that it's boring because it's the boring side of this game, but this is something that we hope that you're doing for the next 20 years, and hopefully you're showing up and having the same approach every day to prepare yourself versus
the compounds. You just compound a little bit day.
Yeah.
Decade later, who knows?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that it? Your computer died.
I don't think it died. I think it just shut the screen off. We're still good.
Almost 15 minutes.
Almost 15 minutes? All right. Oh, God.
All right. That was good.
That was good. We gotta find a way to wrap it up.
You're the host.
All right. So I think like a good way to wrap it up, and Bosie and I think can continue to keep, we could talk about this and go on, is that, intentionality before injury is the best thing you can do, right? Like you show up every day and you're checking the box to make sure that you are doing everything you can to prevent injury, right? Whether that's through proper sleep, proper nutrition, proper warm-up, mindset while throwing or hitting. You're not just going out there and putting yourself into positions where you can get hurt, is key. And then during an injury, when it does happen, it's okay, right? Like, a lot of us have gone through it. It's very hard mentally and emotionally, but that's just part of the journey, right? Hopefully, none of our guys ever get hurt, and they get to experience, a long career. But just know, like, it is part of the game, right? And then post-injury, you have an opportunity. You can either, coming back from injury is hard. You can either give in and, let it beat you, or you come out of it stronger than ever, right? Take that time to become a better version of yourself. You now know why you got hurt, and that could be something that was leading to, like, not finding success while you were actually playing too. So take this time to, like, grow and learn, and really just, it's part of it. It's opportunity. At the end of the day, you have a system around you to help and utilize them.
Yeah. It's an opportunity. Just looks dressed up a little different.
Yeah.
Looks a little different.
Absolutely. But yeah, thank you for joining us.
Do we hit the dap?
I'm your host, Ryan Clark. Thank you to Jacob Bosiokovic for being here with us today. And yeah, if you have any topics that you'd like for us to talk about, please send them our way. And yeah,
see you next time.
See you next time.